Good morning to everyone. Today we will discuss the shear force and bending moment subjected to various types of the beams In the previous lectures we discussed the stress induced in a structural member with respect to the various conditions. Now let us see the shear force and bending moment. Before going to discuss the shear force and bending moment and what is the objective of the shear force and bending moment. So, for example, let us consider one structural member. Alright, this is a structural member. Again, this is also one more structural member or the same structural member. So, first of all, let us see a force of magnitude P is applied. Both are in a horizontal position. A force P is applied on the beam as shown in figure 1. For example, this is the figure 1. Right? This is the first case. So, the same member is subjected to the force of magnitude at different places as P1, P2, P3, P4. So, if we observe the line of action of the forces with respect to the axis, is not the same. So, this is the axis. So, in the first figure, the line of action of the force along the axis. In the second case, the line of action of the forces of various magnitudes P1 to P4 is perpendicular. So, whenever a body is subjected to a transverse loads, then only bending moments are produced. So, that is, here it is called as a bar, here it is called as a beam. So, before going to discuss the shear force and bending moment, better to differentiate the bar and the beam. That is very, very important one. The material is same, the geometry is also same. Even though the material and geometry is same and the position is also same, but one of it is called as a bar, other one is called as a beam. That is depending upon the direction of the applied force with respect to the axis. If the line of action of all the forces perpendicular to the axis of the structural member, such type of structural member is called as a beam. If the same structural member is subjected to the same moment of the forces or the system of forces axially, that is not called as a beam. That may be a bar or bar, simply, particularly in case it is in a horizontal position. So, the objective of this unit or this concept is whenever a body of the structural member is subjected to a transverse load is the key point. So, whenever a body is subjected to a system of forces, if the line of action of the system of forces is perpendicular to the axis of the structural member, particularly it is in a horizontal position, then such type of load is called as transverse loads. So, transverse loads means the line of action of the force must be perpendicular to the axis of the structural member, then only that is called as a beam. So, I would like to repeat once again what is meant by transverse loads. The transverse loads are always perpendicular, the force system is perpendicular to the axis of the structural member. So, whenever a body is a structural member is subjected to a transverse load, that produces the bending moment. And shear force. So, whenever a structural member is subjected to a transverse load, that transverse loads produces the bending moment and shear force in a particular portion of the section. So, at a critical section, the member may fail. Due to excessive bending moment. For example, let us see the figure number 2. This is the figure number 2. If you observe the beam subjected to a transverse load of various magnitudes P1, P2, P3 and P4. So, if it is bends within the limits, there is no problem. if the bending moment produces the bending moment, say this is the new shape of the particular structural member, particularly beam. If it is exceed, if the bending moment is excess, automatically the structural member may fail. That's why you have to calculate the maximum bending moment caused by the transverse loads in a structural member for the safe design. So, before going to study the bending moment caused to failure the structure, we must know the what is meant by transverse load and what is meant by shear force and bending moment. Why we have to calculate the shear force and bending moment. For that, just whenever a structural member is subjected to a transverse loads, the type of structural member is called as beam. So the transverse loads produces the bending moment and shear force. The excessive amount of the shear bending moment may fail the structure. So that's why we have to calculate the shear force and bending moment for the safe design of any structure. So generally we find the so many practical applications like bridges or the RCC structures or any mission components also. So before going to design and manufacturing any component or any member or structure functionally, we have to calculate or estimate the bending moment and shear force to avoid the failure of a member. So that is a very important one. So in addition to that, better to know the shear force. Shear force is the unbalanced vertical forces, very simple. So whenever the unbalanced forces acting on any member which results the unnecessary or the malfunction. So that's why always we have to calculate the unbalanced forces existing in the system also. So let us see the shear force and bending moment graphically also. So simply they are called as shear force and bending moment diagrams. It means the behavior of a beam is studied graphically, named as shear force diagram and bending moment diagram, or shear force and bending moment diagram. Why we have to calculate the shear force and bending moment? So whenever the body is subject to transverse load, excessive amount of the bending stresses are induced. That excessive amount of the bending stresses results the failure of the member. To avoid such failures, just we have to calculate the bending moment at any section or at any point or at any portion of the structural member. So let us see the next one. So this one gives the better example. So for calculation of the bending moment and shear force. For example, this is one kind of the structural member. The best one is the bridge. The bridge is supported at their ends. So for example, at end A and end B. So a force of magnitude applied on a member or acting on a member. The best example, when the vehicles are moving continuously, simply the beam always tries to deflect or bend. So just we have to calculate where the bending moment is maximum, at which section the bending moment is maximum, whether it is within the limit or the excess. So if it is excess, you have to design in safety, all the safety factor also. The first diagram, say this is the figure 1. Alright, this is the figure 1, shows the bending moment. Suppose if you observe the bending moment is maximum at the center of the beam. So the bending moment is 0 at end A. Alright, the bending moment is 0 at end B. Don't bother about the safety of the structure of the bridge at the end A and B also. If you observe the diagram, the bending moment is gradually increased with the same load at a particular point, that is at the midpoint of the beam. So this is the maximum bending moment. If it is within the limit, don't worry about the safety of the beam or the structure. So as we discussed in the previous, just now, this is the axis of the structure, am I right? If you observe the load, the line of action of the load is perpendicular to the axis. So simply, this is a transverse load. This is the transverse load. Whenever the structural member is subjected to a transverse load, it produces the bending moment and the shear force. So this diagram or animation gives the bending moment due to the transverse load applied on a structure. Here the structure is similar to that of a bridge, which is supported at the two ends. One end is with the roller or the other end is also roller, whatever it may be. Coming to the figure number 2. Here the figure number 2 represents the shear force. If you observe that the shear force is constant up to midpoint or at the section L by 2. For example, the total length of the beam is L. The total length of the beam is L, for example. Then shear force is represented below that. Let us discuss the why is the green color 50% of the portion is represented above the reference line and below the reference line in the future classes. So here we have to concentrate on the first case, that is the bending moment. Here we know that the bending moment, what about the magnitude of the bending moment at a particular section? If it is within the limits, so the member is in shape. If it is the bending moment is exceeds at a particular section, here at the length L by 2, the structural member of the member is going to fail. That's why we have to calculate the bending moment and shear force. This animation gives the better understanding or help to understand the what about the bending moment and where the bending moment is maximum and variation of the bending moment with respect to the reference points, and what about the shear force distribution with respect or along the length of the structural member. These two diagrams gives the bending moment and shear force distribution along the length of the beam. Why I am stressing the along the length of the beam? Just we have to calculate the at which point the bending moment is maximum, at which point the shear force is maximum, whether it is within the limits or not. If it is exceed, just we have to design for the safety. So let us see the next one. So we know that what is meant by beam. Let us discuss once again, and the types of beams and the types of supports, the types of loads, and finally shear force and bending moment. As we know that a beam is a structural member subject to a transverse load. For example, this is a one structural member, as we know that. So best example is the bridge, which is constructed across the any river or whatever it may be. One of its end is supported with the roller support for our conveyance. Other end is with the hinge, for example, right? That may be subjected to any kind of the system of forces. Particularly, I would like to describe the what is meant by beam. So, if a structural member is subjected to a transverse loads, transverse means the line of action of the force must be perpendicular to the axis of the structural member. Say this is the axis. This is the axis of the beam. Am I right? Suppose a force of magnitude P is applied at a particular point, say as C. This is the end A, this is the end B. Just I would like to apply a force of magnitude P. If you observe the line of action of the force with respect to the axis, this is the line of action of the force. So this is very, very important. Line of action of force. So, what about the position of the line of action of the force with respect to the axis? So, this is the line of action of the force. This is the axis of the beam, this is the line of action of the force. Both are perpendicular to each other. Such kind of structural member is called as a beam. Simply, this is the transverse load. This is called as transverse load. So, when a member is called as a beam, if a member is subjected to a transverse load, transverse means the line of action of the force must be perpendicular to the axis of the beam. Particularly for better understanding, the structural member is in a horizontal position and it is in a vertically downward direction perpendicular to the axis. Then types of the beams. According to the boundary conditions or the supports provided to a beam, they are classified into different. Then we must know the support reactions of the types of supports. Which type of support is provided to support the beam? Based on that support, while drawing the free body diagram, we have to replace the supports by a reaction accordingly or forces accordingly. So that's why we must familiar the types of the supports also in addition to that types of the beams. The types of beams are classified according to the types of the supports provided. Again, so based on the types of provided, while producing the free body diagrams, we have to replace the support by forces accordingly. Then types of loads are acting on a body. Finally, what is the shear force and what is the bending moment in a particular section or throughout the length of the beam. Today we are going to discuss about the what is meant by beam and types of the beams, and second one is the types of supports provided to support the beams. So types of beams are labeled or named according to the types of supports provided and types of loads acting on the various types of the beams. So finally, let us see the shear force and bending moment. So now coming to the beam, it is a structural member which is subject to a transverse load. Always keep in mind transverse load. It is very important. Transverse means the line of action of the force must be perpendicular to the axis of the beam. For a better understanding, a boy is standing on the electrical pole which is placed across the canal simply. So this is the structural member, right? Structural member. Simply, it is placed across the canal. Simply, if you observe the weight of the boy is always vertically downward. So this is assumed as W or P. If you observe the line of action of the weight of the boy, that is perpendicular to the axis. This is the axis. So this is the best example for the transverse load. The load which is perpendicular. The load which is transverse means the load which is perpendicular to longitudinal axis of the beam. This is the very important. Before going to discuss the shear force and bending moment, you must familiar what is meant by transverse load. So the transverse load means the load which is perpendicular to the axis of the beam. This figure gives the best example for the transverse load and the beam. Now types of the beams, as we know that according to the boundary conditions of the supports provided, first one is the cantilever beam, second one is the simply supported beam, and third one is the overhanging beam, and fourth one is the fixed, final one is the continuous beam. So let us see the practical examples also for the cantilever, simply supported, overhanging, fixed and continuous beams. So this figure gives the cantilever. Here one of its end is fixed, other end is free. Such kind of a structural member, particularly beam. So it means that structural member should be subjected to a transverse load, that is represented with a P here. So then only that structural member is called as a beam. First, the structural member must be a beam. Beam means the line of action of the force always perpendicular to the axis. Then according to the supports provided, they are classified accordingly. First one is the cantilever beam. Here in cantilever beam, one of its end is fixed, other end is free. Coming to the next one is the simply supported beam. It is supported by the two supports at ends. Of course, initially it is a beam. It means the force must be perpendicular to the axis of the beam, this axis of the structure. This is the axis, this is the line of action of the force. Both are mutually perpendicular to each other. Then go for the overhanging beam. If you observe the difference between the overhanging and the simply supported, it means the simply supported beam is extended on either sides or any one of its side. So there is a similarity between the overhanging and the simply supported beam. The extended portion of the simply supported beam is called as the overhanging beam, or in other words, the simply supported beam is extended on either side of the supports, then it is called as a overhanging beam. So based on the requirement or the design functionally, we have to construct such kind of the constructions also. Then go for the continuous beams. What about the continuous beams? Simply if you observe, more number of supports are provided. So in the simply supported beam, we have only two supports. Again in overhanging beam, here itself there are only two supports, but the end portions are extended. Beyond end A and beyond end B is extended. The member is extended on either side of the supports, but the supports are only two. But in case of the continuous beams, the supports are more than two. So you must differentiate. Why I am stressing on the supports? These supports must be replaced by a forces while drawing the free body diagram to calculate the shear force and bending moment. Suppose if you want to calculate the bending moment and shear force, you must know the system of forces. First of all, we have to draw the free body diagram. As we know that free body diagram is a sketch by showing all the forces. First of all, we have to isolate the body. Isolate means we have to remove all the constraint. It means, so this is one constraint in case of the cantilever beam. This is a constraint. This is also one more constraint in case of the simply supported beam. This is one constraint. This is also one more constraint in case of the overhanging beam. So there are four constraints are there in case of the continuous beams. That's why we have to familiar the which type of constraint is provided for a particular beam. That is very, very important. Why? While calculating the shear force and bending moment diagrams, we must know the forces. To know the forces, you must draw the free body diagram. If you want to draw the free body diagram, you must isolate the body. While isolating the body, you must know the what are the constraints. The constraints are replaced by the forces according to the type of the constraint on the body or to which the body. The last one is the fixed one. If you observe that both ends are fixed. The last one is the proper cantilever beam. Simply that is the extension of the cantilever. So up to this one, this is a cantilever. If you provide any support, that is called as another type of the or simply proper type. Let us see one by one with the free body diagram also. So the first one is the cantilever beam. This is the best example for the cantilever beam. So particularly in railway department. So this is a structural member. This is the structural member, am I right? One of its end is fixed simply. It means, so whenever a man is standing on that or a force applied on the body, no doubt at all, that is always vertically downward. Am I right? This is the line of action of the force. line of action of the force. So this is the simply axis. If you observe that, simply this is considered as a cantilever beam. So this is one of the best practical example for the cantilever beam. Before going to construct such kind of the structure, we have to calculate what about the bending stress, at which portion, at which section the bending moment is maximum, and at what point, at what distance the shear force is maximum, we have to calculate. So for example, this can be represented graphically for our convenience. So this is the beam with the line diagram. This is the beam, alright. So one of its end is fixed. One of its end is fixed. Very simple. Suppose if a man is standing at a particular position, this is the weight of the man, or in other words, that is the force P. The total length of the beam is considered as a L. The total length of the beam is considered as a L. So I think that whenever the man is standing at a particular distance x from the fixed end, so this is called as the fixed end. So this is the free end. This terminology is also very important one. So this is the fixed end, this is the free end. So if you observe the bending moment, so definitely I think that always tries to bend in such a way that if it is within the limits, don't bother about that. If it is exceed what we said, if the bending moment is transverse load produces the bending moment. If the bending moment excess or the bending moment exceeds, or the excess bending moment causes to fail the member. So that's why we have to calculate. Mathematically, just I would like to calculate the bending moment about the point A, so which is equal to, that is L into X. It means definitely I can calculate the bending moment at any point or at any section throughout the length. For example, the total length of the bending beam is 10 meters, for example. So suppose if it is a man is standing at a particular position for our requirement, that is at 5 meters. Definitely I can calculate the bending moment due to the transverse load at a particular section or the particular point C, that is MC is equal, that is equal to 5 into if P is equal to 20. So that is equal to 20. So it means, as we discussed in the first or beginning of the class, the transverse loads produces the bending stresses that may, the excess bending moment may fail the member at any section. It means definitely I can measure the bending moment at XX, and definitely I can measure the bending moment at the section XX2. It means I can calculate the bending moment at a distance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10 from the fixed end. This calculation or this procedure is necessary to study the behavior of a particular structure, particularly subjected to the transverse load. So while designing and manufacturing such kind of the structural members, initially we have to calculate the bending moment and shear force, then only we have to construct. Otherwise you may fail while designing order for the construction. So this is the best example for the shear force and bending moment. So let us continue the rest of the types of the beams in the next class. Thank you.